Hello everyone and welcome. Today it's gonna be like a different video than I usually do. I've been collecting Copic markers for quite a while. I first had like a set of Copic Chow markers, but I was too afraid to use them because they were quite expensive, and then I sort of moved on from using alcohol markers. But when I got back into using Copic markers, I started off with the toner gray. Don't ask me why. I thought that it was a neutral color, but it's like the printer gray. And the neutral gray is the neutral gray tone. But I thought if I start off with the gray tone markers, I would start to feel more comfortable using expensive alcohol markers. I also had a set of Uhuhu markers. Then I started collecting mainly the E numbers that I like to use for skin tones, and the YR, which I also like for using skin tones, and also like using few of the R numbers as the reason why I bought the skin tone markers or the skin tone like colors from Copic is because they are refillable. And I bought these on sale. They were like 30% off, and I started collecting even more markers, this is like the G82. So this is the marker for the G82 and the refill. But what started happening was the cap started cracking. So you can see for this one at top. So this one is like cracked on the top part. And if you can see it, I will include some photos. So I would say these are the markers that I also got late 20. So I got these markers late 2021 or early 2022 because these were being discontinued. So I thought, why not buy as many markers with their refills before they get discontinued or gone. I also had these crack on me, so the T8, the T1, which I already replaced, and these caps aren't cracked, so I saved them. E15, which got cracked before I was able to use it, so I contacted the store and they sent me a new one. YG95, which I never replaced, but it is what it is. And before I noticed that this one was cracked, I bought a refill for this one, this one was one of my first refills before I found out that there was a store that still was selling these. T1 was refilled with the refill ink, and it dried out again like in a few days. So I thought, what's happening? I just refilled this marker, so why is it drying out? So there was a crack inside the cap. Didn't know it was possible then, and this keeps happening just with the Copic sketch. And I find this to be very strange because Copic says that these markers are designed to last a lifetime. It didn't. It cracked within 2 years. So I contacted, without these two then, so I contacted the European customer service of Copic. I think I was correct. They responded extremely fast, so they have offered to resend the markers that have cracked. So I think that's amazing customer service. But I was really, really annoyed that this has happened in the first place. I don't think this is supposed to happen. So I thought I would look online if this is like a common thing that happens with the Copic markers. I think it happens mainly with the Copic sketch markers, because I never had this issue with the Copic Chow. So I'm thinking either returning back to the Copic Chows because I'm not, but I don't want to keep buying Copic Sketch and they keep cracking, so I might as well switch over to Copic Chows, but the range is not as big as the Copic Sketch. It's also nice to have like the name and number on the cap, but it's no use if these caps keep cracking. I also like Copic because of the naming system they use. Like the B stands for blue, the 1 means how saturated the color is, and the number 4, or the color that comes after this first number, indicates how bright the color is. So 1 is very light, and up to, I think it's a 000 is very light and very pale, and it goes all the way up to 9, which is a very dark value color. Like, you can see right here how dark the V99 is as opposed to the V25. Also, you can see how muted the BG9 colors are compared to the BG000 or the BG23. So that's why I like using Copic. It's easier to follow, and I really enjoy the B and the BV colors. The V colors for the shadows. But here's also another example of the YG41 being a lot brighter and more saturated compared to the YG91. So that's why I like using Copics, and also there are refills for all of the colors that you use. I've also been looking up online about the issue of the crack cap, which seems to be quite common, I think. Even their own website says if your cap starts to loosen up, you have to replace the cap, and I'm like, where am I supposed to buy a new cap? The caps aren't sold separately, so you have to throw out the whole marker or save the side that didn't crack. I also put all of the crack cap on this side, so it was easier to remember. So supposed to save this one for like if this cracks, and I can refill this color and cap it with this one, but it's too much of an effort for a marker that I paid close to €7 for. So I'm just a little upset about the situation, and I was wondering if this happens to other people, because I find to be quite a lot of markers have cracked. 7 out of like 100, and I think the last time I counted was 121 markers. I find that to be a pretty high failure rate for markers cracking. I also had another marker that cracked on the outside, which is pretty strange. Like here you can see it. It cracked on the outside, but it hasn't dried out, so it's usable. It's the B60. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video, which I hope to be like more of an art related video. This is art related, but less complaining. Ranting. I'm supposed to rant about this,